This video contains minor spoilers from Subnautica Below Zero. Please beware. The Shadow Leviathan is a Leviathan-class predator found within the crystal caves and Fabricator Caverns biomes. It possesses an elongated black body with smooth skin and a triangular-shaped head with 3 pairs of jet black eyes. 37 pairs of small red dots run from the top of its head to the tip of its tail. Large pores line the side of the creature below the red dots, which are likely used to attract prey. Propulsion comes from the large fins at the rear of its body, which ends in a red glowing point. Its large mouth is undoubtedly one of the most interesting parts of the entire body. The mouth is a glowing blue in color with 7 pairs of jointed appendages lining both its sides, assisting the Leviathan in consuming its prey. 7 more unjointed appendages line the side of the creature, just beyond these jointed appendages, decreasing in size as they approach the tail. Curved blue teeth line the outside of the mouth, holding captured prey, while the creature secretes digestive acids to break down the unfortunate victim. The food is then passed directly to the stomach as no signs of a throat-like structure are present. This creature is one of the most terrifying and dangerous creatures we currently know of living in Sector 0. The Ice Worm Leviathan rivals this jet black Leviathan of this position, however. The Ice Worm is an extremely aggressive Leviathan-class organism found within the Arctic Spires biome. This deadly beast is an ambush predator, burrowing beneath the ice and drawn to vibrations above it. It possesses a very long body, the top of which is characterized by a large exoskeleton. Its underside is light gray in color and is bare and vulnerable. Its head mainly consists of a large glowing spike situated directly above its mouth. This vibrant spike is heated by an exothermic chemical reaction, in which raw alkali metals react violently with the water, pushing out heat in the process, allowing the ambushed predator to burrow through the ice. Its body ends in 2 long spikes. The creature's mouth consists of 4 parts, with a long black exterior and a fleshy pink interior. This creature is also one of the most terrifying and dangerous creatures located within Sector 0. But there is one major question that I've often wondered regarding these 2 humongous lifeforms. In fact, I have wondered the same for the Leviathans in Subnautica. What do they eat? Such enormous Leviathan-class creatures need an incredible amount of food in order to survive. In Subnautica, I soon came to realize that there are enough creatures for each Leviathan to eat. Sea dragons eat Reaper Leviathans, as well as pretty much anything they can get their hands on. There seems to be enough sand sharks, stalkers, and other fauna to support the Reaper Leviathan population. And it's mostly the same with the other Leviathans in Subnautica. However, in Subnautica Below Zero, I have noticed that some of the larger Leviathans, more particularly the Ice Worm and Shadow Leviathans, don't seem to have very many food sources, especially when compared to Subnautica. Let's jump into this intriguing mystery and see if we can find an answer. As I mentioned before, the Shadow Leviathan resides within the crystal caves and Fabricator Caverns biomes. Let's take an in-depth look at both of these biomes and uncover possible sources of sustenance for the sleek Shadow Leviathan. The Crystal Caves biome is a large spacious cavern located deep below sea level. This biome is characterized by large crystal formations of a purple color, which protrude from the cave's ceiling and floor. Many different species of fauna live within these caves. Let's go through each one. Small prey fish, including the bladderfish, red featherfish, and treeops are constantly seen throughout the biome. These could provide some sustenance for the Shadow Leviathans, although they are very small in size and wouldn't be able to support the vast creature alone. But it is possible that the Shadow Leviathans within this biome could feed off these small creatures to some degree. The rock grub is likely too small to provide any major sustenance for the Shadow Leviathan, but it could be eaten in large amounts. However, there is one other creature that could provide a decent amount of food for the large sleek Leviathan. Rock punchers are often seen slowly inching along the seafloor in search of their main source of food, rock grubs. These creatures have a thick exoskeleton, protecting them from most threats. However, when we examine the PDA entry given to us upon scanning the creature, we learn an extremely important bit of information. The PDA tells us that this creature is heavily armored and vulnerable only to Leviathan-class predators. This basically tells us that the Shadow Leviathans feed on these bottom-dwelling crustaceans. One problem with this theory is that rock punchers only live within the crystal caves, not the Fabricator Caverns biome. This can be explained away because the Shadow Leviathans likely don't stick to one biome. They likely switch between them frequently. But there is one more problem. Altogether, there's not a whole lot of rock punchers, not enough to sustain multiple Shadow Leviathans. If we combine all the rock punchers as well as all the prey fish within this biome, that simply isn't enough food to support the many Shadow Leviathans living within this biome, especially if the rock punchers only stick to the Crystal Caves biome. Multiple Shadow Leviathans also dwell within the Fabricator Caverns biome, a cavern cavern that connects to the crystal caves. Let's see if we can find any other creatures that could support the mini Shadow Leviathans. The Fabricator Caverns biome is characterized by large red crystal columns that protrude from all angles of the cavern. The only creature we can find in this biome that is not found in the crystal caves biome as well is the spinefish. This small prey fish, along with the other prey fish and the rock punchers from the crystal caves, really aren't enough to support the Shadow Leviathan population. There doesn't seem to be enough of these fauna to sustain multiple creatures with such a large body mass. So how do these creatures survive? Let's look at all of the possibilities that could explain how the Shadow Leviathan is alive. The first possibility is that the food available within the crystal caves and Fabricator Caverns biome is enough to sustain the multiple Shadow Leviathans living there. Maybe there are enough prey fish and rock punchers to sustain multiple of these gigantic creatures. Maybe there are more rock punchers than we are able to see in game. As for myself, I personally think that the food available within these biomes isn't enough. There has to be some other way for these Leviathans to obtain sustenance in order for them to be alive. The second possibility is that, similarly to the Sea Dragon Leviathan, the Shadow Leviathan could venture out of the crystal caves and Fabricator Caverns biomes in search of smaller Leviathans and creatures which it would then hunt and consume. This would completely solve the problem, and it makes a lot of sense. However, there is no evidence of these creatures doing this, in the PDAs or anywhere else. This doesn't disprove this theory, it just makes it slightly less likely. The third possibility is that Shadow Leviathans could eat microorganisms or other plankton-like creatures. Upon scanning the Shadow Leviathan, the PDA tells us about their bioluminescent digestive tract, saying, "The Shadow Leviathan's mouth leads directly to its digestive tract, which secretes a highly acidic compound onto captured prey. This bioluminescent cavity attracts light-seeking phytoplankton, which in turn draws in larger fish." It is possible that the Shadow Leviathan could eat the phytoplankton the PDA discusses, as well as the fauna those plankton may attract. This would explain the mystery completely. But if we examine the jaws of the creature, they don't seem to be designed to eat microorganisms. They seem to be designed to eat larger fauna. Whales are a good example of a creature that feeds on plankton, but the Shadow Leviathan bears no features that resemble a common whale. Then again, this is an alien planet, so who knows? The fourth possibility is that the Shadow Leviathan could somehow obtain sustenance from the large mineral structures that cover the biomes they live in. There is no evidence of them doing so in their PDA entry, and no obvious markings on the crystals in both biomes that would hint at this behavior. These creatures could also somehow be powered by some sort of geological or volcanic activity, possibly whatever created the huge crystal structures featured in these biomes. The fifth possibility is that the Shadow Leviathan could get some amount of sustenance from the plants living in the region. There are multiple species of plants in both of the biomes the Shadow Leviathans live in, so it is a possibility that these creatures could be omnivores, feeding off both plants and animals. Although I must say this is very unlikely and kind of a stretch. The sixth possibility is that it's a combination of these previous possibilities. In most of my theory videos, a likely possibility is that the previous possibilities could best explain this intriguing mystery, and it's the same in this video. A combination of the previous theories may best explain this puzzle. The seventh possibility is that we may just need to remember that Subnautica Below Zero is simply a video game. Sometimes it is important to remember that this game is flawed and the developers aren't perfect. Now, let's talk about the Ice Worm. The Ice Worm Leviathan resides within the Arctic Spires biome, a large above-water biome characterized by flat sheets of ice, broken up by huge icy spires jutting upwards from below. There are only a few species of fauna residing within this biome. Arctic peepers and bladderfish can be found inside one of the two entrances to this biome, a narrow underwater tunnel that leads from the surrounding ocean into this punishing desert. But these small prey fish wouldn't provide sustenance to the ice worm, as it lives within the ice, never seen swimming in the water. And there is only one other food source in this biome. Only one source for such a humongous leviathan, and that source is the snowstalker. The snowstalker is a large predator, very similar to polar bears here on Earth. They operate in packs, possess territories, and occasionally enter the ocean for various reasons. These polar bear-like creatures seem to be the only main source of food for the many ice worms we can find in Subnautica Below Zero. In fact, ice worms can even be seen eating snowstalkers in an awesome animation. How is this possible? How would there be enough snowstalkers to support the many ice worms spread throughout this biome? There are a few possibilities. The first possibility is that, like with the Shadow Leviathans, there may be enough snowstalkers to support the ice worm population. Once again, maybe the snowstalker population is able to support the many ice worms in the region. Maybe there are more snowstalkers than we are able to see in game, or maybe there are less ice worms than we think there are. Maybe the ice worms that attack the player in different locations are really just the same creature. This may explain it. The second possibility is that ice worms may venture to different sections of Sector Zero that are not accessible to the player. The player is only able to access a small portion of Sector 0 in-game. If we go into Free Camp, we can see there's a lot more area besides what we were able to access in Subnautica below zero. This area hasn't been filled in, but in reality it would be. There would be tons of different biomes and different creatures that we've never seen before. It's possible that these other areas may have tons of other snowstalkers, or maybe other creatures we don't know of. These extra snowstalkers and possibly other creatures could provide food to the Ice Worm Leviathan species. The third possibility is that the ice worms could eat different creatures we currently don't know of. Like we talked about before, there may be other creatures we simply don't know about that the ice worms could feed on. The fourth possibility is that the ice worms could eat each other. Scattered throughout the Arctic Spires biomes are bones of Ice Worm Leviathans that used to inhabit the area but perished due to unknown reasons. One possibility is that the ice worms could feed on each other. This would explain the large quantity of these bones scattered throughout this region, but the PDA entry of these ice worm bones may disprove this theory. The PDA tells us these ice worm bones appear relatively intact. It seems that other large land predators in the region tend to leave the worm carcass alone after death. The fifth possibility is once again a combination of the previous possibilities. All these combined may best explain this mystery. The sixth possibility is that just like with the Shadow Leviathans, we may just need to remember that Subnautica below zero is a game, as much as I hate to do so. Before the Gahara bacterium devastated the planet, there may have been other creatures the Shadow and Ice Worm Leviathans could feed on, but now it really seems there aren't enough sources of food to sustain such large creatures. This is a really intriguing mystery to me, one that has multiple possible answers, but in the end, it's down to the player to interpret this amazing game. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. What do you think explains how these creatures are alive? Are there any possibilities I've missed? Do you have any questions about Subnautica or Subnautica below zero that I could answer in another video? Questions or concerns? Please let me know. Thanks so much to SciPro05 who helped me out with some of the theorizing. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, it's free plus it helps me out a ton. These videos take a lot of time, and the best way you can support me is by subscribing. Help me reach 10,000 subscribers as fast as possible. Also, please check out my other Subnautica and Subnautica below zero content, you may like it. Be sure to check out my Discord server and Twitch channel. The links are in the description. If you want to be awesome, please support me on Patreon. Thanks to my patrons, Sir Lord Mister and King Nocho. Become a patron and support today. The link to my patron is in the description as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.